Hi book friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Jen and this is my first video of 2025, my January TBR featuring the Dragon Hoard board. So in 2025, I'm going to be using a new game that I created. I want to say I'll do this every month, but there may be some months where I let it rest and do something else. And before I show you the completed board, I want to give a shout out to All Rad Reads. Sarah Beth is the one that inspired me to make my TBR game, and I hope that I put enough of my own spin on it. I will link her channel in the description below. So without further ado, here is the Dragon Hoard board. And I also want to show this big blank space up here will not be blank during the next video. The idea was to have a dragon sitting on top of a special edition book up here on the top. And then this is his hoard of books and other magical items. This game is heavily D&D themed, but I am not an artist. And since it's winter break, I am not at work right now. So when I go back to work, I'll be able to print out a template to help me accurately draw the dragon up at the top. So right now it's just blank. My game piece is going to be my D&D character, Minifig. This is Rhapsody. She's a bard. My boyfriend had this made for me for Christmas one time from Hero Forge. This is a fox and it's supposed to be a corgi because in game I have a war corgi, but they did not have a corgi. And you'll notice there is a banana. And that's because I have a sword that is called by a magical word. So anytime I want to call up this sword to use it, I have to say the magical word of my own choosing. And I chose the word banana. So there are a lot of spaces on this board that do something different. And I'm not going to explain all of them unless I happen to land on it. So I'm just going to go over the basics really quick. So we're going to start down here and we're going to wind our way up through the shelves. At the beginning of the game, I'm going to roll a D20. This is the dice tower that I'm going to be using. I had a student make it for me to look like a bookshelf. And that first roll will determine how many rolls I need to make throughout the game. So the point of the game is to either complete that number of rolls or get to the top, whichever comes first. Now, there will be a dragon sitting up here on top of a book that's like a special edition book. If I can get to that special edition book in exactly the number of moves on the dice, so let's say I'm here and I roll a 3, 1, 2, 3 will bring me up to the special edition, I get to buy myself a new book. I also want to show you these. These are a bunch of graphics that I made in Canva to help me keep track of all of the books that I have on my physical and Kindle TBR. You can find these also on my Instagram if you need a closer look. So you can see I have 80-something books on my physical TBR. At the end of every month, I will take off the books that I read and update that number. I also have the Kindle TBR. Well, the Kindle TBR is a little bit weird. It's a little bit different than the physical TBR because it could change depending if I need to take something off to fit another book on there. Or sometimes the books that I have on there will not be on Kindle Unlimited anymore, so then I will have to take those off. So the Kindle TBR is a little bit more flexible. Then I also have a graphic that shows all of the books that I need to read. These are the next books in a series. So these are all the series that I have going on right now, and these are the next books in them. Sometimes when I'm choosing my TBR, I forget about my Kindle, and I also forget about books in series. So this is just a visual reminder to help me keep track of that. And then this graphic here, these are all the books in series that are not out yet. And then there's a little tag on there that tells me when they come out. One of the things I'm trying really hard to do in 2025 is to keep up with series as the books come out. So for example, if a book in the next book in a series is scheduled to come out in, let's say, April, and I haven't read the first book in the series yet, but I have it, I will read that book in March. Again, this is just to help keep me organized. Now, this is not a game. This is not a process. to help me read through all of these books in 2025. I know I'm not going to read through all of them. I'm keeping my reading goal at 75. It was at 75 in 2024, and I blew that out of the water. I want to say 91 books. I can't remember exactly. But I don't set reading goals necessarily to beat them. I just set them to help keep track of the books that I read. Also in 2025, I plan on reading a lot more big epic fantasy books. So there may be some months where I read less books, but I'm still reading the same amount of pages because I'm reading a big, thick book. This month, I do have a few books that are required reads for me. So I'm hoping that they will fit into some of the prompts. If not, I'm going to just have to add them to the stack. If we get to the end of a month and there is a book that I haven't read, no big deal. It's just going to go right back up on my stack. Also, I'm keeping my 2024 TBR, which is just what I'm including in all the books that I did not get to in 2024. They're not necessarily books I bought in 2024 or that came out in 24. They're just books that I still have on my TBR at the end of the year. Every book that I buy starting January 1st of 2025 is going to go on a completely different TBR shelf. Now, also, because I'm trying to read through a lot of my physical books, some of these prompts are going to be very loose and very flexible. So, for example, if I get a prompt that says, read a book with a blue cover or mostly blue on the cover, and I don't have a book with mostly blue on the cover, I will maybe pick a book that has a blue spine or has some blue on it. That's just to keep me from having to buy extra books if they don't fit prompts on my TBR. And the last rule that I can think of is that it's only one book per prompt, unless I land on the clock space. If I land on the clock space, that freezes time. And at the end of the game, I get to look at my TBR and I can shuffle some things around if I need to. Or if I have one book that fits 2 prompts and I already have my TBR sort of large, then I can double up a book on the prompts. Other than that, I will just explain the spaces as we go. So we probably will not get to all of the spaces today, but in the coming months, you'll be able to see what all of the different spaces are on the board. So without further ado, let's get rolling. All right, here we have the game board all complete and set up. Let us put the D20 in the dice tower to see how many rolls we're going to have to play this game. And 10 is our lucky number. All right, I'm going to place Rhapsody right here at the bottom of the shelf. And we're going to go ahead with our first roll. Our first roll is a 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have landed on a gold coin. That means I need to roll a d6. And if it's odd, I go backwards that number of spaces. And if it's even, I go forward that number of spaces. And I rolled a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I landed on a purple book with an O on it. So that is the other prompt. And the prompt is TBR Vet. This would be a book that I've had on my TBR for a long time. I have plenty of those to choose from. All right, so the first roll was a TBR Vet. And this one is going to come right off of my Kindle. It is Level Up. This is a fandom romance. It is a series. I don't know if each book in the series is a standalone or not, but it focuses on nerd love, geek love, video gaming, that type of thing. I love video games. I love the nerd culture. This one's been on my Kindle for over a year, so I'm excited to get to this one. Roll number 2. Got a nat 20. 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I landed on a genre prompt. So, favorite genre. That's another easy one. Fantasy is my favorite genre. So I'm going to take a book off of the required reads that I have for January, and I'm going to go with The Heartless Hunter. The reason this is a required read is because the next book Rebel Witch comes out in February, and I would like to have already read the first book for two reasons. One, I'll know whether or not I want to read the second book. And if I do want to read the second book, then I can pick it up and read it and be caught up with the series. I've heard so many good things about this series. It's been on my shelf ever since I got it from Book of the Month. And it might have even been on a few TBRs, and it just never got read. Roll 3. I rolled a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I landed on the clock prompt. At the end of the game, I will have the choice to turn back time and either switch out a book or switch out a prompt. All right, roll 4. 11. 8, 9, 10, 11. I landed on a magical item. That is going to give me a title prompt. A number or quantity in the title. So I'm going to step out here and do a book by an author who was on my goals of 2024 to read in 2024. This author did not get read in 2024. That is N.K. Jemisin. So I am going to put the 5th season, because 5th is a quantity or a number or close enough. So I'm going to put the 5th season in the spot for roll number 4. Roll 5. I got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Landed on gold coin again. Gonna roll the d6. And I got a 4. So I'm gonna move ahead 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. I landed on genre pick again. A genre you don't usually read. I want to read more nonfiction in 2025. So I'm going to put a nonfiction on this list. This is going to be Alan Rickman. I don't know if it's a biography, an autobiography. I'm not really sure, but I have it. Madly Deeply. And I'm going to try to listen to this one on audio, especially if he was the one narrating it. I did read Tom Felton's Beyond the Wand recently. Really, really loved it. And I'm a big Harry Potter nerd, so I can't think of anything better than an Alan Rickman book. In fact, you can see behind me my beautiful badger and snake. I'm a Hufflepuff, and my boyfriend is a Slytherin. So he bought these for me at Universal, and he wrapped the snake around the badger because the snake is giving the badger a hug. Roll 6. Another low number. I rolled a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another magical item, which is title. 1-word title. This prompt was a 1-word title. And again, I can pick one of the books off my required reading. That is the book that I have seen everywhere. It is exploding on social media. It is a romantasy, and that is Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. The reason this is a required read for me is because I am a moderator of a Facebook group called Bookmark Baddies. So if you're on Facebook, go check us out. And I am running a fantasy book club for the month of January, and Quicksilver was our pick. This will also knock another book off of my Kindle. 4 rolls left, and I'm already pretty close to the top. I rolled a 2. 1, 2. So I landed on a long rest, which means that all of the prompts that I have already used will be shuffled back into the decks at the end of this game. This is only the first month of the year. If I were to land on this prompt, let's say in April, and I have not landed on it in a couple of months, all the prompts that I had used the last couple of months would be reshuffled back into the deck. That also means there is not a book chosen for this roll. All right, let's roll number 8. And I rolled a 18. There is not enough spaces for me to end on an 18 roll, and I cannot get to the special edition book at the top in the exact amount of rolls. So that means that this game is over for the month of January. And we have added 5 books to the TBR. But don't forget, I landed on the clock, so I get to freeze time. So hold on 1 second. Let me look at the TBR, and I will let you know if I'm going to change anything. Okay, I am going to change one thing, and I do feel kind of bad about it because, again, N.K. Jemisin is being knocked off the list. Hopefully, I'll still get to her in 2025. But the other required read I had is Onyx Storm, which comes out on January 21st. I have already been reading recaps because I'm not going to do a reread of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. And this book I will probably read into a little bit of February, but I'm still going to count it as my January read. And I'm super excited for the next book in this series. So for my January TBR, I have Level Up on the Kindle. I have Heartless Hunter, Onyx Storm, Madly Deeply by Alan Rickman, which I will probably listen to on audio, and Quicksilver, which is also on the Kindle. Before we end, in 2025, I am also taking part in 4 Paws in a Book 25 and 25 bingo board. Now, I will not be crossing off any spots on this bingo board until the end of each month, so I know if any of the books I read will fit any of these prompts, but it is my goal in 2025 to completely block out the board. I will also link her channel below. If you want to jump on the 25 and 25 train, it's going to be a lot of fun. And that's it. Hopefully, the next time you see me, this board will be a little bit more completed. One other thing that I do want to add as far as goals for 2025, it is my goal to put out a video at least every Sunday. I have a lot of videos that I want to make that are related to the end of the year. So in January, even though I am going to post every Sunday, I may also be posting throughout the week. This was a goal of mine last year, and it didn't really come to fruition, but I do want to do some more reading sprints. Whether that's here on YouTube or over on TikTok, depending on what happens with TikTok. I have all of my socials, my Instagram, everything listed below. So I would love to connect with you on all platforms. As always, I appreciate your likes, your comments, your subscribes. And until next time, happy reading.